this lady knows what's wrong with me. She hasn't seen me, but I think she knows what's wrong with me. By this time, I knew I needed new hips because I could feel them grinding away in there. So I went to New England Baptist Hospital, which is probably one of the finest orthopedic hospitals, surgery hospitals, probably in the world. They don't do anything but orthopedic surgery. You can't go there and have a baby. You can't show up at their emergency room. They do one thing: orthopedic surgery of all types, but that's it. So anyway, I made an appointment with a doctor. I went to see him. He examined me, and he said, listen, I wouldn't even know where to put hips on you. I said, what do I have to do to have my hips replaced? He said, you've got to get your pelvis straight. He said, your pelvis is so tilted, there's no way I wouldn't even know where to put your hips. So now, hearing that I have to get my pelvis straight, I call up Vicki Sims' office in Gainesville, Georgia. And I said, I'm pretty sure I have sacroiliac joint dysfunction, and I would like to make an appointment to come see Vicki. And her office said, okay, we have the week of, I think it was July 7th, open. And I said, the week? She said, yeah, yes, we have an out-of-state program. You have to come down for a week, and you have to bring someone with you. And I said, but she hasn't even seen me yet. Should I just come down for a day and let her evaluate me? And this is what they said to me. They said, if you have sacroiliac joint dysfunction, Vicki will help you. And you know what, folks? That was good enough for me. I mean, this is the first time in 17 years that anybody even, first of all, acknowledged that there was such a thing as a SIJD, sacroiliac joint dysfunction, and second, that, yeah, we know what that is and we know how to fix it. We'll help you. And I made the appointment. Now, in the meantime, I thought, well, once I get my pelvis straightened out, I'm going to have hip surgery. And I started looking for a surgeon that could do it, a surgeon that did a specific type of surgery where they don't cut into the muscle or the tendon. They basically do the whole surgery inside your body. And there is very, very non-invasive, and that's what I wanted done. I thought I'd have to go to Florida or Arizona to have the surgery done, because it's really the only place that I had seen doctors who did it. So, but anyway, I came home from, or after I made the appointment with Vicki, I started looking for somebody that could do the surgery that I wanted, and I found a website online that had a listing of the people that were trained to do that surgery, and lo and behold, the guy who developed the surgery was, guess where? New England Baptist, where I had just been a few months earlier. Now tell me that's not God at work, man. Or at least it makes me feel good to think that God was at work. So anyway, I called up his office, tried to make an appointment. They said, he can't see it till next November. I said, that's too long. This was in May. I said, that's too long. And they said, well, Dr. Ward is his associate. He could see you in June. And I said, well, an associate, you know, what an idiot. In my head, an associate, I said to the lady, I said, I really don't want to trust this to a newbie. And she laughed, and she said, Dr. Ward has done over 2,000 of these surgeries. I said, sign me up. So I went to see Dr. Ward, and when I hobbled in on my crutches. He's an older man, maybe in his 50s at the time, white hair. Turned around at it from his little seat looking at my x-rays. He turned around, looked at me on my crutches, and these are his exact words. Pardon my French, this is exactly what he said to me. He looked at me and he said, "Dude, you need your f***ing hips replaced." So I said, "I know, doctor, that's why I'm here, but I was told by doctor," I won't mention the guy's name. I said, I was told by him that he wouldn't even know where to start. He said, "Well, let me tell you something. You are the worst I've ever seen. You won't be the hardest." I said, "Why is that?" He said, "Because you still have bone left." He said, "But you are the worst." I said, "Okay, well, here's the deal." I said, "Next month I'm headed down to Georgia to get my pelvis straightened out. So I need to know from you what to tell the physical therapist in Georgia in terms of getting me ready for the surgery." He looked at me and he said, "You can waste your money any way you want." I said, "What are you talking about?" He said, "There's nothing wrong with your sacroiliac joint. I'm looking at it on the x-ray." Now, folks, Dr. Ward is a wonderful guy, and he's probably one of the best hip surgeons in the country, okay? I give him his props. But from all my research, I knew that you can't tell if you have sacroiliac joint dysfunction from an x-ray. There's only one way. It's called a diagnostic injection. And in all of the appointments, tests, everything that I had, nobody had ever done that. And I couldn't get them to do it. He said, "Normally we do one, 8 weeks later we do the other one." He said, "I can't do that with you. You won't be able to do the rehab because you can't straighten up." And literally, folks, I couldn't straighten up. So he said, "You'd have one good hip, and the other one, it would be your physical therapy would be a disaster. Your rehab, you wouldn't be able to do the rehab." So we made the appointment, and on the way home from seeing him, I called Sharon and said, "Listen," he said, "there's nothing wrong with my SI joint." She said, "Really?" I said, "Yeah, but you know what? He's a hip guy. Vicky Sims is a sacroiliac joint guy. So you know what? We're on faith. Let's go." So we did. We went down to see Vicky Sims. It was a 16-hour drive from Manchester, and we stopped overnight. But let me tell you, folks, by the time we got there, I was in the worst shape. I could barely walk on my crutches. And what Vicky Sims had done was make an appointment with, I guess, a neurologist, maybe. I'm not sure what, but he tested all my nerves. Now, again, something that had never been done to me in 17 years. Never. None of those doctors ever did that. Vicky was more thorough than all those doctors for 17 years. And the guy who did the testing said, "You know, for being this way for 17 years, you have no permanent nerve damage," which just shocked and amazed me. And I said, "Do you think Vicky will be able to help me?" And this is what the doctor said. This is a doctor. "For what you have, you couldn't be in better hands." That afternoon, I saw Vicky, and she is the most wonderful person. She's this little Southern lady, and she is the nicest, God-fearing, I can't say enough about her. She gave me my life back. She examined me sitting up, laying on my back, and then laying on my stomach. And folks, now listen to me. I had MRIs, X-rays, CAT scans. I had everything there was to have. I had been to chiropractors, orthopedists, orthopedic surgeons, neurologists, neuros. I had been to everybody over the course of 17 years. They had all of the tests. They had the highest science available. Vicky examined me with her thumbs and a tape measure. And when she was done, she said, "Okay, sit up. I'm going to tell you what's wrong with you." She told me what was wrong with me in unbelievably specific detail. It was incredible. What doctors had been stumbling over for 17 years with x-rays, CAT scans, MRIs, everything. She told me what was wrong with me in 20 minutes. Not even 20 minutes with her. She told me what was wrong with me. And when she told me, I was relieved that finally somebody knew what was wrong with me, because you couldn't fix something if you didn't know what it was, right? So it was the first time in 17 years that I had any hope. And I was relieved to know that somebody thought they knew what was wrong with me specifically. But what I said to her was, "Oh my God, now what?" I had no idea. And she looked at me and said, "Well, lay down and I'll fix it."